I've run a load test with Loader now, and I have thousands of log entries of different types, and Loggly's dashboard gives me everything I need to analyse the instrumentation from my API. On the left here are all the fields in the log entries, and the breakdown of all the values that have been recorded for those fields. I can select any field and value to filter, and the dashboard accumulates all those filter values, so I can build up a combined query. I can filter on the API called event, and in the server name field I can see how many events there are for each instance. That tells me the calls were roughly equal between my instances, which means my load balancer is working correctly and all my nodes are active. Remove those filters and I can look at the levels to see how many warnings and error logs I've got. Filter on just the errors, and the event name list gets updated so I can see which events are erroring. I can add this event to the filter and I'll see I'm getting intermittent problems with the downstream API timing out, so I would need to check on those. But I've also got a lot of warnings, and a lot of those are in the MySpider service. Look at the status code for those errors and I see the API is returning 401 unauthorized to clients, and the event is a login failure. I'm going to get a steady number of these logs from users getting their credentials wrong, but if I see a sudden spike from a small number of IP addresses, that could mean there's a brute force attack going on with an attacker trying to guess people's credentials. I can identify the source IP addresses and I could block them if I was sure they were malicious. So Loggly can tell me the general state of my API, but it can also give me very specific data. I have a simulated error condition in my API for one particular user, so when I request the spiders for bad user, I get a 500 error. As all good APIs should, in production the error response hides the error details, so users don't accidentally see database connection strings, or anything else which might be confidential, they just get a generic error ID. But that error ID is also recorded in my log, so if one user consistently has problems, they can send an error ID to the support team who can quickly search for it in Loggly and see exactly what the problem is. In Loggly, I get one exact match for this error ID, as expected, and that tells me the user's images can't be found, so that's a starting point for us to try and track them down. Finding that single log so easily and quickly among thousands of logs from different servers is the sort of benefit you get from a logging service, and if I had millions of messages from hundreds of servers, it would be just as easy.